What's up, all you whippersnappers out there? You know who it is. It's the one and only Reese on the radio right here live on WAC Family Music News and Talk Station. Thank you as usual for joining me. I know I've been gone for a couple of days, but I'm back. I've got plenty of stuff to get into today. I hope you'll join me in the conversation. If you got any to post on Facebook today, you know exactly what it is that we're going to talk about, but I have a few surprises. I want to talk about Mao Zedong and the Democrat Party. A lot of people don't pay attention to the Democrat Party's affiliation with Mao Zedong and why it is that we know that they are communists and socialists within their ranks. And I'm going to show you documented evidence that the left embraces communism, embraces Marxism, embrace government rule over its citizens. And I will prove that today. Now, some people are going to say, well, what does that mean? It means a great deal. Trust me when you see this picture. And I'll give you the individual plus a photo you'll be able to see for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live. Anyway, so there are plenty of things to get into today. Let's talk about a few of them. For those of you who miss me, please always remember, go to wacfm.com. That's wacfm.com. It is a 24-hour station. Rebroadcasts of Reese on the radio go on the air generally about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it rebroadcasts every 2 hours throughout the day until I come back live. On the weekends, it's a little more infrequent, but if you log on to wacfm.com or go to reeseontheradio.com, you'll be able to see that. In other words, the website's right there. Okay, just go to it. And you'll be able to see whatever it is you want. So let's get into this today. I'm going to start off with something that people have not been paying attention to because the media refuses to talk about it. And that is a timeline of events that took place on Wednesday, January 6th. This is an important thing to note when you have this second impeachment of the President of the United States. Some of you may have been following this, some of you may not have. For those of you who haven't been paying attention to it, it is probably because you have already made up your mind, or as I like to say, the media has made up your mind for you, and now you're repeating said talking points. I don't know whether or not I have anybody on the chat. Let me see, I just want to make sure. Give me a second while I refresh this. Are live. Okay. All right. It looks like everybody is here and we are good to go. Okay. So if you're in the chat room, please share your comments. I'd like to read some of them as we go on. So John Solomon, who writes for an outfit called Just the News, has broken down the timeline of events on January 6th at the Capitol building. This is an important thing to note. So this may be lengthy, but I'm going to try to breeze through it as best I can. So just bear with me as I read it. Again, you can read the article yourself. Just go to Just the News. The headline on the article is called Rush to Judgment. 3 crucial questions remain unanswered about the Capitol siege. It also has a subheadline that says, what did Nancy Pelosi know a prior plot to or a spontaneous riot? Was there inside facilitators? And there were. Unfortunately, folks, let me break them down for you. One thing recent history has taught America is the first storyline of major tragedies or controversies is never the most accurate. Americans were told by the Bush administration that they were sucker punched by a surprise attack on 9/11 by terrorists, only to learn that the CIA and the FBI had significant advance evidence of the plot and its players and failed to connect the dots. Susan Rice, former NSA, she originally told the nation that the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi was carried out by a spontaneous mob angered by an anti-Muslim video. The attack, it turned out, was a pre-planned and carried out by an al-Qaeda-aligned terror group in Libya. The country was assured that Christopher Steele's dossier provided credible evidence of Donald Trump colluding with Russia, when in fact, the CIA and the FBI knew almost immediately it was uncorroborated and based in part on Russian disinformation. They knew that. Hello, Bunny. And now, just a week after the heinous and deadly siege of the U.S. Capitol, the final narrative of what actually happened is still being written, revised, and unmasked. Since the weekend, major bombshell revelations revelations already have substantially revised the initial story of a spontaneous mob overrunning an unsuspecting Capitol force. The FBI admitted just this Tuesday that it received information ahead of the January 6th tragedy, suggesting some participants were planning a quote-unquote war on the Capitol, including killing officers and distributing maps of the complex. It alerted Washington, D.C., law enforcement through the Joint Terrorism Task Force alert system. It also disrupted the travel plans of some of the suspected troublemakers. You didn't know this, did you? Well, this has been revealed, but no one's reporting it. Quote, we developed some intelligence that a number of individuals were planning to travel to the DC area with intentions to cause violence, end quote. This is the Assistant Director, Stephen M. D'Antuono. We immediately shared that information and action was taken, he says. The New York City Police Department is reported to have given the Capitol Police similar intelligence warnings of impending violence. The chief federal prosecutor in Washington declared on Tuesday he is pursuing conspiracy charges, signaling the attacks on the Capitol involved multiple acts and multiple conspirators working in concert with each other. The prosecutor talked about the planting of carefully constructed IEDs as one such act. In other words, there was pre-planning for some of the elements of last Wednesday's chaos. You didn't know that. As the official timeline of events constructed by the New York Times through video shows, protesters began breaching the perimeter of the Capitol a full 20 minutes before Trump finished his speech. 20 minutes before he finished his speech. Now, folks, I can tell you that I left the speech with Rick before Trump finished his speech. Now, I know this is going to sound a little harsh on the president, but I'm going to be honest. He was starting to talk about information I had already heard. He was breaking down the evidence that Rudy Giuliani and his legal team obtained state by state that the election was rigged. I had heard this before. Rick has heard this before. We wanted to get a jump on being in the front lines at the Capitol building where we could let our voices be heard. We did hear the president suggest just that. In fact, we weren't deciding on whether or not we would go until after we heard the president suggest that he would be going down to that march with us. We had already determined, because we heard beforehand by the guy you saw in all the viral videos, he's got the horns with the Viking horns with the painted face with no shirt on. Well, I have pictures of him on my Facebook page. He came by and said, hey, you guys know that we're marching down to the Capitol. We were like, no, we didn't know that. Rick and I looked at each other. We were like, should we go down there? I was starting to second guess it because it was going to be crowded. I wanted to beat the crowd to go home. I already got to hear the president's speech. I figured, whatever. But then we heard that the president would also be going down there joining us. And me and Rick looked at each other. We nodded our head and says, we're going. Because we figured if the president would roll by, we'd be there. We'd be chanting, stop the steal, which is what we did. But we left before the president finished his speech as he was laying out the fraud that took place in the election. Okay? John Solomon continues. This new evidence raises the first compelling question that remains unanswered. How could Trump incite an attack that had already been pre-planned and was in motion before his speech ended? This is all valid. We're talking about a trial, right? A senior intelligence official told Just the News he has found no evidence that the president, the White House, or the National Security Council was alerted in formal intelligence briefings to pre-warnings of suspicious violence the FBI and NYPD had admitted they had. They never told the President of the United States. Why would they do that? Why would they not tell them? D'Antuono, the aforementioned D'Antuono, explained that one of the concerns the FBI had was trying to distinguish whether those writing despicable things on the internet were just practicing keyboard bravado or they actually had the intent to harm. Former NYPD Commissioner Bernard Kerik told Just the News, on Tuesday, it appeared that the FBI and the NYPD did their job in alerting Capitol Police, but the evidence of a pre-planned attack would undercut the current narrative that Trump had incited a spontaneous insurrection. By all accounts, the FBI and NYPD and other authorities did exactly what they should have done, conducting interviews and making notifications to the Washington, D.C. authorities. If these reports are true, you cannot incite a group that already had pre-planned attacks in mind of violence by days and weeks. It raises questions as to what security precautions were taken at the Capitol as a result. Now, that's saying that the Capitol Police, who did let people in, Rick and I witnessed it. They let people in. We saw it on the backside of the Capitol. Police officers at first were grabbing people, moving them aside, and then got out of their way, pretty much just went whoop, just like that, and let them go up the stairs. We're under the impression people are just taking the hill. They get to the top of the stairs, they start waving flags. We're emotional. We're like, wow, this is great. You know, people out there expressing themselves. I know they can hear us because we're right at their front door. We can't see anything because we're below, it's about 100 feet up from us or above us. So we can't see. We can just see the people at the top of the balconies and at the top of the stairs. So when we start getting reports, when I spoke to my wife, are you okay? Are you safe? We're under the impression that where we are is being reported that violence is going on. But there wasn't. We were all around there chanting, stop the steal, stop the steal. There was no violence with us. We had no idea that there was violence going on the inside. Because the most important thing to remember is that, one, it happened before we got there, and two, we couldn't see it. Now, I'm going to do something here, if you'll indulge me, folks. Many of you may have this particular app on your phone, but it's called Google Maps. You've done it. You've been there. On my Google Maps, for reasons I won't disclose, I have a thing on my map called Your Timeline. I can go to any day in the past, and I can break down every move that I made according to my phone. Some people don't like it because it's intrusive, and that means that Google gets to know where you are at all given times. I happen to use it because it's important that everybody knows where I am at every given time. So, January 6th, I go. And this gives me an entire breakdown of every place I've been. That's the entire route of every place it is that I've been, right? It shows that I was at the National Mall at 8:15 a.m. until 1:01 p.m. Then I start walking for 31 minutes. Again, I can take a picture of this and show it to you. It shows that I am walking. Sorry, I apologize. Sorry. I get to the National Mall at 7:41. I apologize because Rick picks me up at 6:30. We take the train. We arrive at the National Mall at 7:41. We go and grab some coffee. The companion we're with, Jeannie, is there. She goes to use the ladies' room at a hotel. We double back and we stop to go get some coffee. We are there for a considerable amount of time because there's a line. We start walking again when we hit the National Mall. 0.7 miles. It takes about 9 minutes to get where we are. We are, at this point, walking through the large crowd, past the porta potties, looking for a place that we can stand so we can get a good view. It's too crowded where we are on the main road, so we go left, away from the White House, to start walking towards the Washington Monument, where we get into the crowd. We get into the crowd, and that time we are standing still at roughly about 8:15. We are there listening to people's speeches until 1:01. 1:01. The president is still giving his speech, and at 1:01, we begin walking 1.9 miles. Almost 2 miles we're walking. This is all according to my own thing. If you need me to, let me see if I can get this up on the map, if you can read it. Get a little focus here. Let me see if I can get that focus just slightly. I don't know whether or not you can read it. No, that focus sucks. Anyway, but I got it right here. We reached the U.S. Capitol grounds at 1:32. 1:32. And we were there until, roughly about is that right? Yeah, we were there for an hour on both sides on the Capitol grounds. We reached Federal Triangle because we walked back. And let me see. We get back to Franconia, Springfield, where our train is, or where our car is located. And I can't see what time that was. For some odd reason, it says, I don't know. I don't remember what that was. But I don't remember what time that was. But it said, 4:04 was when we finally reached back at where we were. But again, as I said, all of this, thank you, Rick. I keep this stuff documented. I keep this stuff. They could call me and you as a witness right now because I have this stuff documented on my phone. That's how important it is. Trust me, I've been there. So all of this information I have, right? Breaking down when everything has happened. Mind you, we left at exactly, we start heading to the Capitol grounds at 1:01. We arrived there at 1:32. Yes, I can post this. Of course I can post it. Now the president, again, is speaking. He had started he started in Arizona. No, sorry, I apologize. He started in Georgia, starting to lay out the fraud. He even asked the crowd, look, I might bore you. I heard it all, and that was when I decided, Rick and I decided, let's go now, because we wanted to get ahead of the crowds, because we wanted a front seat at the Capitol. So here it is, documented in real time. I have exactly when it was, and we heard the president saying, we're going to march down there, okay, peacefully and respectfully. In fact, I'm going to read his quote to you now. Mind you, people are already inside the building when Rick and I are walking. People are inside the building when Rick and I are walking to the Capitol building. Why? Because they were already breaching. Why? Because the FBI and the New York City Police Department had already informed them that there were people who were planning on attacking them. Let me read the exact quote here. Here's the exact quote. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. If I have to repeat it for the cheap seats, I will. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Rick and I left shortly after 1 o'clock, after he made those statements, because we looked at each other and said, we're going, Rick will remember, Rick will vouch right here in the chat room. I looked back at Rick. Rick was looking at me because he was behind me. And I said, we're going. And Rick said, we're going? I said, yeah, we're going. Because Trump said he was going to go. So I said, we're going, because we were contemplating whether or not we should even go. But if he's going, we're going. So that's when we decided to go leave. Little do we know, they're already storming the Capitol. Trump's still giving his speech. He gives this line. We know that the FBI and the New York City Police Department have already received credible threats. In fact, another part of this story that John Solomon reveals is that, and I already read it, they stopped people in their tracks before they even made it to D.C. They stopped them in their tracks before they left wherever it was they were coming from. Credible threat a day before, a week before, hell, if it was hours before. The bottom line is, if you receive a credible threat, how does the President of the United States, who says that you are going to walk peacefully and respectfully and patriotically, inciting a riot that was pre-planned, an insurrection that was pre-planned, how does he take the blame? None of this is true. It's all farcical. And here's the worst part. If you want to really laugh, don't take John Solomon's word for it. You can call him a goddamn hack. But this information is also in the Washington Post. That is a newspaper that vehemently cannot stand the President of the United States. They have spent 5 years vilifying the man. Why would they report this? What is Nancy Pelosi doing? Why is it that it's important for her to impeach the president a second time on trumped-up charges? And if you can make, no pun intended, if you can make this even worse, folks, they don't plan to have a Senate hearing of this impeachment trial until he's out of office. Anybody want to take a wild guess as to what's wrong with that? Anybody want to take a wild guess to what's wrong with that? He's a private citizen after noon, January 20th. He's not a sitting president. He's not a sitting president. He can't be impeached. And if they're going to hold the trial to impeach him after he's out of office, which is unconstitutional, by the way, if you can hold an impeachment trial of a citizen, non-president, average dude, no longer president, former president, and violate the Constitution, that means the Senate can grab, not that we're that important, but if the Senate decides that they want to attack me, you, or anybody else, they could just grab some charges and throw our asses up there and hold the trial. They could do that to anybody it is that they want. They don't have that power, but they sure seem to be abusing it now. Also important, that's right, an insurrection. But that's another interesting thing. Amy brings up a great point. An insurrection, and none of them brought a gun. They did bring weapons. We did find out that they brought weapons. But here's what we found out. Now, Rick will vouch for me on this one, because when we were walking through the corridor on the main street, as we're walking on the corridor on the main street, to the left of us were these porta potties, and they were like 2-hour-long lines. I don't want to tell anybody's personal business, but I do believe that Rick tried to bribe somebody with $20. I'm sorry, Rick. I had to tell. That was just, to me, it was inventive. And now I know in my head, I'm saying to myself, damn, how much could he have paid someone to skip them in line at the porta potty is a great question. I would love to have an answer for that. Like, how much money could he have actually bartered with them and say, hey, I'll give you $100. Would that have been, like, enough money? It's just interesting. I'm just wondering. Yeah, that's right. And Rick almost started a war with the people on the line behind that person in trying to do that, which was hilarious as well. He did find a way to use the bathroom. It's not important where. It's not important where. He did get to use the bathroom. Anyway, that being said, I'm sorry, Rick. I don't mean to put you on blast. I'm just playing. Anyway, that being said, I want everybody to understand that timelines are important. All of these things are important. What's this all for? The objective is to destroy Trump and his ilk. Anybody who's riding with him, worked with him, associated with him, has got to be completely and utterly destroyed. And this impeachment would, in essence, have him rejected by the Republican Party. Any association with him, they can constantly say, this guy was impeached not once, but twice. This guy's a reprobate. He caused an insurrection. He's a clear and present danger. He's a menace to society. Nancy Pelosi could say whatever they want. Anybody associates with him, she could now destroy them too. And in essence, he's hot lava, right? He is hot lava, and nobody would want to go near him. This way, he can't run in 2024. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is bogus. That there is bogus. Donald Trump owns this party, like it or not. All right. So I've yammered on. We'll get into some other stuff. Okay. So now the time has come. That's right. You heard it. You heard that famous line, battery 100%. So that means you know I'm ready. The call-in line is open. You know it, 703-537-5070. 703-537-5070. Get on the lines right now if you want to debate. But remember, this is going to be brief. So give everybody a chance to call. I'll take your phone calls, take your comments on what it is that I've just read to you. I know Rick wants to call in now because he will tell you right now whether or not anything it is that I'm saying is bogus, true, whatever. He will tell you whether or not, and I'm sure I missed some things. I tried to be as accurate as I could without giving all these crazy details. Okay. Thank you, big guy. That's my buddy Carl, who's in there giving me some love out there. Rick, are you saying you would have paid $100 to go to the bathroom in the porta potty? I'll give you props, man. I wouldn't have done it. That was the only place in the world, by the way. It was so cold out there, folks. You do not want to pee on yourself in that cold weather. I mean, if it was blazing hot outside, I probably would have done it. But it was so cold, I did not need, no. Much less, I would never, ever pee on myself. Anyway, like I said, if you want to call in, please call in now. Here's your opportunity. Say what it is you want, because people keep wondering, are you going to post that timeline? Yes, I have the timeline. I was there. Okay? So, now, that being said, are the phone lines open? The phone lines are open. They should be open. Yeah, they're open. Okay, because I know a couple of people wanted to call in today. So I'm hoping that they will. What do I got here? I have another story coming up here because it's related to this nonsense that's going on in the... Oh, here it is. Matt Gaetz. Yeah, Matt Gaetz. Now, look, I'm starting to love this guy. Oh, there's that phone line. There we go. I think that's my buddy Rick on the line. What's up, Rick?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm pretty good, sir. I'm pretty good. So, was I accurate enough in what it is that I shared so far?
Yeah, it was 100% accurate.
Thank you.
You actually said things that made me remember, oh, my God. Times are what, you know what I mean? So, everything you said was 100% accurate.
Right. So, see, that's my whole deal. I'm trying to get like an accurate, because people keep saying it's like, oh, you were there. Jay King and the guys at the Kings in the Morning thing. Jay King just found out today that I was really there. He didn't believe me. He thought I was BSing. He was like, and how he found out was, do you remember the video that I did with the crowd? We were there, and I was talking about the safest place for a black man was a Trump rally.
That was amazing. I love it. I've been sharing it since you posted it.
So now you know. I don't know if you know this, but this thing has got 1,300 hits. Right? Yeah, it's like 1,300 hits. So it's going everywhere. Now, Jay King is just seeing that today. Okay, over a week ago. He's like, he goes, oh, I saw this video. He goes, you were really there. I'm like, dude, I told you the day after that I was there. And he was like, oh, I didn't believe you. I thought you were BSing. I'm like, yeah, dude, I was there. So now, all of a sudden, he wants to talk to me about it. And I'm like, I could have given you all of this information way ahead of time. I could have given you this timeline ahead of time. So now, Rick, the stuff that I just expressed to you about the timeline, you being there with me, is this the first time you're hearing this, or did you get drips of this over the last couple of days?
What do you mean? Like of what you said exactly?
Yeah, the breakdown of the timeline that John Solomon writes in his piece.
Oh, no, I saw that last night.
Okay, you did see this last night. Okay.
His breakdown, yes, when he was on was he on Tucker or Hannity?
I think he may have been.
Until he was on, I saw him break that down. And I was like, yep.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So yeah, he was on Hannity because he's a frequent guest on Hannity. Now look again. I heard this. I want to say 2, maybe 3 nights ago. I heard this because Mark Levin was reading John Solomon's article as well as the Washington Post article, which in essence exonerates Donald Trump from this impeachment nonsense. So with all of that, go ahead.
Here's what the thing, like, on top of it all, Jamie, the person that I brought with me,
yes,
shared a poster or whatever it is, shared me a message on Facebook about the event. Mm-hmm. This poster was made on December 22nd.
Wow.
The first part of the poster was advertising the night before, whatever that rally, whatever was going on the night before.
That's right.
And in the middle picture, they showed the president speaking at 11 o'clock or 9 o'clock, whatever it should have been, 11 o'clock.
Right.
And in the third part of this poster said at the Capitol at 1 p.m. Mm-hmm. On December 22nd, this thing was made.
Exactly.
That's why everybody there, I mean, we heard from, I don't know, I'm going to low estimate 20 people mention going to the Capitol at 1 o'clock before Donald Trump Jr. even spoke.
That's right.
Way before the president even spoke.
That's correct.
This was being talked about and organized.
That's correct. Because like
that's exoneration right there, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And the other part is that I said that you and I didn't realize that you actually had a picture and a video of the guy as well. But you and I both simultaneously took videos of the guy in the Viking horn who had the megaphone. He was the one who walked past us and said, "Hey, you guys know we're going to the Capitol at 1 o'clock." And that was when you and I were first contemplating it. Because that was when you and I both said to each other, when you asked me, you were like, are we going to go? And I was thinking to myself, I don't know.
It seemed extremely weird that when I saw all the pictures of him.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm going to remember seeing him. He stands out to anybody.
Of
course.
Unless
you walk around looking like him all day, or unless you live in a community full of people looking like that, he's going to stand out.
Exactly.
And then the second I saw him on that TV screen, I was like, oh, my God.
Now, hold on. Now, Rick, remember when you guys have already saw that I have evidence of everywhere it is that I was by my Google Maps, right? Because it documents every place I was. It tells me Capitol building, the whole 9 yards. Here's another thing that I can use. Anybody can do this, so this isn't anything weird. I'm going to go to the day of the rally in my pictures and videos. You can do this for anything it is that you want. So I'm here going through those pictures, and I'm going to find the video of the gentleman who we're talking about with the horns. Here it is. All right, so I have the video of him with the megaphone. He's blowing one of those matador horns or whatever the case is. Okay, so when I go on there, and this is the date and the time.
9/12. Boom. If I remember correctly. Go ahead.
I started videotaping him at exactly 9 a.m. He was one of the people who got inside the building and made it all the way inside the halls of Congress, right? It
wasn't an accident either.
Right. If we saw him at 9 a.m., okay, when he told us that we were going down to the Capitol building, and he was inside when we got there, it's pretty evident that he left early, way early, before the president even spoke. His intention was to get in that building.
100%, because by the time we got there, let's just say it took us, I don't know, a half an hour, roundabout. Say we got there by 1:30 to the Capitol. We couldn't have gotten to the Capitol from where we were standing. On either side. When we started in the front, there was no way we were making it through all those people at the front of the Capitol. And then we went around to the back, which we were still pretty early in that, because nobody had started to go on the back.
That's correct.
We could have never gotten to the front of that.
That's correct. We were very... And
he had to be there before noon.
Yes, he was there way before noon, because again, like I said, I saw him walking through the crowd towards the Capitol, because we were back by... I want to say we were about 2 football fields away from the Washington Monument. Behind us was a sea of people. And we were about 2 football fields, maybe even a football field and a half. So in essence, we're talking about 360, we're talking about 800 feet, maybe even 1,000 feet away from the Washington Monument. He came in front of us. He was on his megaphone. He was blowing the horn. He was talking about that at 9 a.m. because it's documented. And he's walking past us, towards the Capitol. He had to have left early. He obviously gets into the building. He's in the building. There are viral videos everywhere. He's from Arizona, by the way, for those of you who don't know. His first name is Justin. I don't know what his last name is. And he's been arrested in the whole 9 yards, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But, dude, if he left before we did and he knew we were going, okay, he's definitely there. He's definitely inside. He leaves before us.
Here's another thing I don't understand, Reese. I don't understand. So when we were at the front, they were sending flashbangs off and throwing tear gas or pepper spray, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You saw people climbing up on what they were making the inauguration stage out of. Like, you saw people doing dumb stuff, but you didn't see a riot. Around the back, you didn't see a riot. They actually the police actually opened up and let us go to the front door.
That's right.
But we didn't see anything. So this was all happening while we were standing there. Where the hell was it happening?
Okay, so this was the part that you and I didn't see. So I thought that this breach, if you will, happened on the front and the back. It turns out it didn't. Some of it did happen in the back, but it was up on, you remember, in the back side, that's where the cement is, where there's no grass. On the backside, that's the cement thing, the second area we went to. There were some people up there. There's some people who actually were bashing windows when they got past the Capitol Police. On the front side, when they were shooting tear gas on us, that's where the inauguration takes place. When they're shooting tear gas and flashbangs and stuff like that. What I didn't realize was that they had already let people into the building. The police officers had already ushered people in. The rest of us who were there, they thought there were too many people trying to rush into the building. They were holding us at bay to make sure that we didn't join the others they had already let in. They were keeping that group at bay. Now, does anybody want to take a wild guess on how many people entered the building? Out of hundreds of thousands, millions, I'm telling you, I don't care what anybody says, Rick, it was millions of people there. But even if it wasn't
over a million,
exactly,
250,000 is bullcrap.
It's totally bull. Exactly. With that being said, how many people do you think made it into the building? Wild number.
I gave a wild guess to be 100.
Okay,
and that's probably a high number.
It's 3. It was 300. But now, 300, okay. 300. How many engaged in violence? About 100. The rest of them, and if you saw the video, they're walking through Statuary Hall and they're taking pictures inside Statuary Hall, walking orderly through the velvet ropes. Irrefutable.
Through the ropes, yep, I saw those.
You saw those, right? In between the velvet ropes. They're not even, there's a couple of scragglers outside who were taking pictures of Statuary Hall because they want pictures of the president. It's momentous, so I kind of get that. It's stupid, but it's momentous. Some of them are going in there sort of like tourists. But most of the people who are walking
if they would have told me I could have gone in there, Reese, I would have been.
Dude, we'd have been there. We'd have been there. Listen to me. I love Washington. I love politics. Of course, Rick, I'd have gone in. Okay. Now, of course, it would have been a violation. Absolutely. It would have been criminal. Of course it was. But I wouldn't have gone in there.
I don't know how when they're letting you in.
Also true, and I think that's going to be some of the argument that some of these lawyers are going to make. I think that's going to be the argument that some of these people make. If the police let them in,
on those videos, the police officers usher with their hands.
Exactly.
Go on. They're walking into the building. There's 3 and 4 cops on each side of the hallway joking and taking selfies. That's
right.
Not criminal.
That's right. Police officers were even caught taking pictures with some of the people who were in Statuary Hall. So again, a lot of this is nonsense. But see, it doesn't matter whether or not these people believe it. They don't care. This argument is ridiculous to them, and that's fine. I don't care. I'm not making any excuses for the people who did dumb things. I'm not making any excuses for the people who went in there and were there with an intent to destroy. I'm not making any excuses for them. Those people need to be held accountable. Did they make the rest of us look bad? Sure, to CNN, MSNBC, but we have no excuse. We have no reason to feel bad. We have no reason. We're not obligated to answer for idiots. No more than people
No.
who burn down buildings and burn down private businesses in Ferguson and Seattle and Portland. No more is Black Lives Matter responsible for answering to those people. So let's be consistent. If there were people who were bad actors who were there during the protest for Black Lives Matter, in no way are we responsible during our Save America rally for us to take responsibility for idiots. We're not. Those people don't represent us.
As far as I'm concerned, me and you are responsible for defending the 90. I did the math. It's like 99.9992% of the people that were there that didn't do anything wrong. It's our responsibility to defend us and defend them and not allow this thing to be blown into something that it absolutely wasn't. And as far as I'm concerned, it was something that was done to make this look bad. They could not let Trump leave office with that peaceful gathering being the last thing that was seen.
And you know what?
And nobody can convince me anything else.
I'm inclined to believe that because, like I said, if the NYPD, anti-terrorism task force, you had information of a credible threat where people were talking about a war at the Capitol, where they were going to be killing police officers and trying to take over that building, and you don't alert the president, you don't alert and Nancy Pelosi and what's his name and Mitch McConnell knew, and nobody said a thing. And then those DC police officers had no backup. Nobody was asked the National Guard to be there to help them out because, according to Muriel Bowser, the mayor of DC, that she was going to have the National Guard standing around gunless, directing traffic in the area.
That we saw at the train station.
We did
do that.
Gunless. They were gunless. They were just standing around literally as just statues, talking and doing nothing and telling people where they can walk. I mean, they were nothing more. They weren't even beat cops. They were like traffic coordinators. Like somebody had been reduced.
At the train station.
And at the train station.
I even said that to you. And I said, what are they doing here?
Exactly.
Shouldn't they be where everybody's going?
Exactly. And they weren't. They weren't in the crowd. There were people wearing military outfits in the crowd. You and I saw them. Jamie pointed them out to us. Was saying, God, she couldn't tell whether or not that person was wearing military garb and was just hanging out with the rest of us, or whether or not he was infiltrating the crowd as a police officer or somebody of some sort of special task force. She wasn't certain. But I told her when I looked at her, he had some sort of like Punisher, like American flag kind of thing on a what's name. I said, nah, he's obviously here for the rally because he didn't look like a police officer when I saw that tag. But yeah, they had people in there in military garb walking through. Sure, they had some people who look like, bikers and all that other stuff, but these were the people I expected there. That sort of middle America where nobody, flyover country, as they like to call it. I didn't expect anything more than that. I expected regular citizens. We met great people. Everybody was having a great time. I mean, every facet of life was at this place. Were there bad actors? Yeah, but I am not. And I know some people sit up there going, well, man, they made us look bad. No, they made themselves look bad. Don't take responsibility for bad actors. They won't. So they won't. Black Lives Matter and Antifa won't. So I won't. I'm going to be consistent. If they don't have to take responsibility, neither do I. And that's exactly what it is, how it is that I'm going to take it. So
this is what I just want, and I'll let you go after this.
Yes, sir.
I just want to put out there that I think this is a lot worse than what it looks like. I think this was done politically. I think that this was a setup from the beginning. I commented on the comments of this video.
Yeah.
People can look at it after it's over. But Tim Kennedy, he's a military guy, special forces. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast last summer.
Right.
And he laid out how the CIA and special operators go into other countries to either start or get rid of uprisings. How he laid it out is exactly what happened last week.
Well,
to the T. He said a couple people go in there and light a match.
Well, listen, I know that what I'm about to say.
And they have many reasons. But look, they tried to do the 25th Amendment on him. Why did they try to do that so fast? What gets released?
Well, the objective, like I said earlier.
If they would have done that 25th Amendment, that wouldn't have been done.
Exactly. But I told you.
They do the 25th Amendment because they caused a false flag. Now, people say that's conspiracy. If you use your head and you break down every reason why and how they could do it, it makes more sense than Trump caused an uprising does.
Oh, okay. Listen, I'm going to say something that may sound redundant, but after this phone call, I'm going to post something. I'm going to play something, some audio for you that proves that a lot of this nonsense had been infiltrated by bad actors who are on the other side. I'm sure you heard of the kid Jake Sullivan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, I'm going to play some audio from him as well because I've got plenty of stuff to go on this. But I believe you me, like I said, I haven't been much for conspiracy theories in a lot of years. Since the Zabuda film was introduced to me in the 7th grade, I don't fall for conspiracy theories. But nowadays, the way that this government works, the way that I've seen these people on the left act and behave, I am strongly starting to believe in conspiracies because for some odd reason, they appear to be coming out as truths, not conspiracy.
And I'm not starting conspiracy theory. I'm not spreading QAnon stuff.
Right.
I'm just saying, look at the evidence.
Oh,
look what happened. Look at what they had to gain and how they could have done it. And it all makes sense. Especially because we have people that are in the CIA, in our military, that have gone overseas and done the exact same thing.
Exactly. And what they claim to be doing to despots and all this other stuff, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. But Rick, thank you for calling.
Right,
and thank you.
I'm going to go, but before I go, I got one question for you.
You got it.
I had a life full of experience during my 20s. I'm going to put it that way. Substances, maybe, whatever.
Okay.
The adrenaline that I felt from last week lasted longer than anything I have ever put in my body.
I couldn't.
When I tell you that I am still recovering from that adrenaline rush, I'm not making it up. Did you feel the same? Like, did you feel that adrenaline last days and days?
It was. I've never experienced anything like it. I've never been a part of anything like it. I don't think in my lifetime. It was exhilarating, and I get your feeling about a rush that almost feels like a high, if you will. Like you can feel dopamine rushing through your body.
Oh, 100. That's why I made the reference to my, the dumb shit I did back in 20.
Yeah. But that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. And I get it because, like I said, in my body, like literally my limbs were shaking, and it wasn't about fear. It was just exhilarating because my blood was rushing because there was so much happening. And to see all those people with the flags and the people when they stormed the steps and they were waving the flags back and forth.
USA.
Yes, USA, stop the steal, USA. It was surreal. It was, and you were there. You know how many times I said it. I was redundant. I was like, dude, I'm so emotional. I don't even know how to act right now. I was like completely emotional.
And then the adrenaline from that turned into me getting home and being called imagine some radical leftists calling me a traitor and treason. Imagine that. I mean, and then it went into that. So now the adrenaline hasn't even worn off yet, and now I'm thrown into a fight. Well, okay, I'm never going to afraid to. I'll never back down. So here we go.
Exactly.
I just listened to it yesterday. I was like, you know what? I got to calm down before I get myself a heart attack. But it was just crazy. I'm glad to have been there with you, buddy.
Thank you, man. And thank you for coming to get me, man. I appreciate you. Okay, obviously.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, man. All right, man. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to have to do this now, so I guess it's only important that I do. So forgive me for a moment, folks. This is about to be contentious, but you know what? I have the ability to do it. Let me see whether or not I can get this person on the phone. Okay, all right. So you finally get on the line because it's important that you called in. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats or you'll probably leave. Michael Gay is on the line. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Reese Hopkins. How are you doing?
Can you just call me? Can you do me a favor? Listen.
It's great to hear your voice.
Hey. It's just Reese or Reese on the radio?
Okay, Reese on the radio. Okay, it's great to hear your voice. But I just have some questions. I'm not calling in to debate, but I'm looking at which, in fact, Amy have been sending some. We have been chatting back and forth during your show. I'm listening to what you say, but you were talking about Horn Man.
Yes,
that's what I call him, Horn Man.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess you've seen where his lawyer spoke up.
I don't care.
Attorney,
I don't care.
And says,
I don't care.
Wait a minute. You said
Michael,
you don't care, but let me finish.
Michael, I don't. Michael,
first.
I don't.
Can I ask the question?
No, because I don't.
I can't ask the question.
Michael.
Okay, so that tells me you don't want to ask. You don't want to answer a question I'm curious about, right?
Michael,
on
hear
your
me.
Show.
Michael, just hear me out, and I'll tell you why I don't want to answer it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay.
So,
Horn Man, let me answer my show. I'm going to say it again.
Yeah. That's true.
Horn man, Justin, as his name is, okay, made a decision as a grown person to storm the Capitol and to go in there and to wreak havoc. Whatever his lawyer is saying is his lawyer defending him. His lawyer's allowed to say whatever he wants to say to defend him. And I have no comment about somebody else's legal or illegal actions at the Capitol. I can only represent myself, the people who were around me, and the people in which I saw. I need you.
You and Rick were not one of those ones.
Okay. I know we were not. There were hundreds of thousands of people who didn't do that. So let me finish. Okay. I'm going to say that. Again, what other individuals did and what their lawyers are talking about, I'm not interested in, and I have no response for because I'm not obligated to respond.
No, you're not. Right. You are right. But now, so then let me change my question then. Give me the right to do that as a listener,
sure,
if you don't mind, on your show.
Sure.
Okay, so let's leave out the horn man's attorney, but you know what he's saying.
No, I don't.
My question is this, is that where, okay, well, then you need to check it out.
Okay.
But I recommend that you do.
Okay.
But the thing is that okay, so this was an event that was not a campaign because the election was over with. This was an event.
I never called it a campaign.
This was not a campaign, no.
I never called it one.
No, I didn't say that. I'm saying that this was not a campaign to run for the presidency. It was already said that Biden is the president-elect. This is an event that Donald Trump and the administration put together, okay, and did anyway.
Okay.
So you don't think that, but then again, they are responsible, I think, of the outcome of that event.
I do. Well, hold on.
All over.
Hold on.
Because keep in mind, he and his children, he and his son said that we will all walk to the Capitol. None of them showed up. They all got on their jets and went home.
Okay.
Except for the president.
Okay.
So what do you think about that, or where they say that they're going to do that? And keep in mind, Rudy Giuliani made some statements.
I'm well aware of the statements. Yes.
Explain to me. I'm just trying to understand your
okay.
Point, so I'll listen.
Okay. So we understand each other again. All of those points that you just made about what the president said, I've already quoted the president, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We are going to peacefully and patriotically let your voices be heard. That is not riot speak, okay? And credible threats days before the president even gives a speech that say that people are going to do bad things and bad actors are being, in essence, being stopped from traveling there, okay, that they have a credible threat that they knew a day before the president ever speaks, okay? But some people they did not thwart, but they knew credible threats a day before the speech, takes the whole inciting an insurrection argument and puts it in the trash. That's over. It's done. There were people with the intent to do bad things before the president spoke that absolves him of any responsibility of said bad actors. That whether there's no 2 ways or 3 ways or 9 ways to slice it. Bad actors before speech, bad actors during speech, bad actors after speech. Hold on. Right, that means that president inciting, that means president words then make people react is bogus if they are already breaching the Capitol before he finishes said speech. We leave at 1:01. The breach started at 1:20. We were on our way to the Capitol. I already showed you and I expressed to you that I have documented evidence of where I was walking by my Google Maps, which timestamps everything.
And I asked you if you could share that so I could see it in real time.
I would love to. I will take a screenshot of it and I will send it to you.
I would appreciate that.
Okay.
I couldn't see it on your show.
I know I tried to, but yeah, it couldn't focus because the camera's too far away. But yes, right. I'll send you a screenshot of it because again, me and Rick left at 1:01, which I have documented evidence. It shows me walking, not just driving, walking, and what time we walked and what time we got there. The insurrection had already happened and the president was still giving his speech. So it's not like—
This was before you got— okay, so you knew at that time— okay, now let me ask you this. Now you knew at that time that was going on, right? When you were documenting it?
No, we did not know it was happening until we got on the train to go home. That was when I saw the first video of what was happening inside. We were
So
under
when
the.
you got on the,
I need you to let me finish.
When you live
I
streamed
need
on Facebook,
I
on the
need
site
I
training,
need
you
you
didn't
to
see that yet,
I
right?
need you to let me finish.
I'm asking a question, but go ahead.
But you have to let me finish before you answer the next question, but I'll answer both for you. Again, when I first live streamed, we were leaving the Capitol. We were told by my wife, because she asked whether or not we were okay. She said, "Are you guys all right?" They said that there's violence out there and people are fighting. And we're looking around, no one's fighting. I said, no one's fighting. There's no violence here. And there wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
My wife didn't say inside the Capitol building. Nobody's saying that. So then they showed video of what was going on inside. What we did not know was that the video that everybody was showing was happening way before we even got to the Capitol. And we left the speech at 1:01. The violence was already taking place. The president had just said, we are about to march to the Capitol. So if he incited a riot that happened before he mentions going to the Capitol, he is not responsible for said insurgents. It's just about time. All it is about time. All you need is a watch, my friend. And it absolves him of any responsibility. That's it. So when I'm live streaming that my wife is telling me that there's violence going on in the crowd, we're going, no, there's not. Because they're keeping us at bay. We're thinking people are trying to get in. They shoot the Molotov. I mean, not the Molotov, sorry. They're shooting the canisters of tear gas or whatever it is. So we all moved to the opposite side. Now, part of the reason why I moved is because I saw Alex Jones come into the crowd, and then everybody says he's going to the other side, and he does. So we joined them on the other side. We actually got there before Alex Jones get us on the other side, because then he passes us. While he goes up the stairs and then comes down the stairs, he passes us going back. When he passes us going back, Rick says to him, "I love you, Alex Jones." And Alex Jones goes, "I love you too." And he moves on, right? Because we're literally right next to Alex Jones. Okay? Mind you, all we saw were people waving back and forth and the police holding them at bay. But again, that's because a half an hour to 45 minutes before we ever got there, they were already inside.
Oh, okay. Half an hour to 45 minutes, they were already inside.
They were already inside, and you want to know why? Because there were already people who had planned on going inside days before. Mm-hmm. Because the FBI and the New York City Police Department had already informed the Capitol Police that there were people who were planning on coming for war. So if they were planning on coming for war before they ever knew what Donald Trump's speech was going to be, therefore Donald Trump incited nothing. Do we understand each other now?
Now, okay, but
no. I need to know. Don't understand my point. No, it's not a point.
Okay, I'm not going to debate. Excuse me, sir. Can I?
It's not a point. I'm asking you a question. Wait. You asked me a question. I'm asking you a point.
Right.
Does that make sense? Does it make sense?
No, it doesn't make total sense.
Okay, so you're saying that the president's still responsible even though there was a credible threat before the speech?
Well, the thing is now, let's say this, is that let's look at the fact of how come that the National Guard was denied access to the area, because when it was Black Lives Matter, you had the National Guard there and they never tried to breach the steps or the building. So how come the National Guard, or when it was requested for them to be there, because there was credible threat.
Actually,
denied.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true. Okay,
no.
So what is that you say is true?
Oh no! It isn't what I said is true. It's
what you're going to tell me.
No, it's what the sergeant at arms actually said. He was never called for the National Guard. In fact, you can also look this up. Just look up Muriel Bowser and the National Guard. She asked
I saw him when he spoke about that, and he spoke about it where actually the National Guard was going to be there for traffic control.
Thank you.
Not for
wait.
What happened.
Well, hold on.
From his own mouth.
Hold on.
Right or wrong?
That's right. No, you're 100% right.
Thank you.
Hold on. You're 100% right. But you made a statement and you didn't connect the dots. Muriel Bowser the day before made it clear that she was going to be sending out the National Guard. She made it clear that she would send out the National Guard. In fact, Rick and I spoke about that when we got off the train and we saw the National Guard. And I said, what would the National Guard be doing here? This isn't a Black Lives Matter rally. And we had a good laugh about that. But then when I saw that they didn't have any weapons, then I said, okay, that makes sense. Okay, that they didn't have any weapons because, again, we were not there. Look, when Trump supporters and the Tea Party show up at events, guess what happens?
I love what you just said. It's not a Black Lives Matter.
That's right. So what happens? I'm sorry. At a Black Lives Matter. Yes, no, excuse me. Don't interrupt me. It's my show.
I'm not interrupting.
What happens? What happens? No. What happens at a Black Lives Matter rally? Ferguson, ring a bell? What happens at a Black Lives Matter rally? Does anything get burned down? Does anything? I'm about to. Does anything get burned down at a Black Lives Matter rally? Does anything get burned down at a Black Lives Matter rally?
Usually at night, and when it's actually shown, there's a lot of individuals that are not Black that are doing it. We do have video of that.
Hold on? Can we honestly?
Don't we have video of individuals who will go to the rallies later on in the evening and bust windows and set places on fire? Don't we have videos of that?
Yes. Now, okay. Again, let me finish.
And are they Black? The videos that we see.
Yes.
Are they Black?
Yes, they are. Of course, they are.
Oh, every one of them are Black.
No,
okay.
not. I didn't say. No. I didn't say every. I said, are they Black? Yes, members of them are Black. Okay. So wait a minute. Let's go one more step. So every rally that involves Black Lives Matter, when they're marching in the street, ends with military force being out there and Molotov cocktails being thrown at police officers and private businesses being burned. Every one of them. Right?
So let me ask this last question though.
Why are you evading? Why are you evading?
On a state, whatever happens on a state level.
Why are you evading the question?
No. What I want to ask you is this.
Why are you evading the question? You want to ask a lot of questions, but you don't. When I'm done with what, when I'm done.
I understand your point.
When I'm done.
I do not condone,
Michael,
any kind of rallies where there's any kind of destruction.
I didn't ask you to condone it. I didn't ask you to condone it. I didn't ask you.
That when you attack the lawmakers of the entire country.
What's that?
And when they're
the lawmakers?
Why are they chanting hang Pence?
Okay.
I mean,
I hear you.
Listen,
what
is that all about?
Okay.
Explain that, please.
So we understand each other.
Pence?
So wait. Again, I hear you asking a lot of questions and answering nothing. So I'm going to.
No, I'm asking you questions.
I'm going to continue.
Listen
to me. I'm going to continue with my line of questioning on my show. You're not interviewing.
It's your show, right?
You're not. But you're on my show interviewing me.
I know.
And you call
on my show.
No.
I'll let you speak.
No. You are on my show interviewing me to give you answers, but you called my show, so let me ask you the questions that you seem to be dodging. Okay? You seem to be.
I called your show to ask you some questions and see if you.
That's
can
fine,
give me the answer.
but you haven't allowed me to answer any of them. You didn't answer. You're not allowing me to answer anything.
I'm not allowed to ask
you anything. Let me.
Okay,
you know what? Hold on, Michael. Let me answer your question. Why are they saying hang Pence? I'm
curious of that.
I'm going to answer you. I don't know, because I'm not saying hang Pence. Nor, just like I just said, I'm not responsible for the people who ran into the Capitol. Just like I'm not responsible for the people who went to destroy, because I didn't go there to destroy. I don't answer for those people, and I don't speak for them. So therefore, I'm not responsible for their actions.
Correct. You are not personally. No. You are not responsible.
Hold on.
But somebody got to be.
Let me go. Hold on. I'm going to go one step further. Somebody says hang Pence, I'm not responsible, because
you personally are not.
No. Right. So asking me to answer why they're doing it is a dereliction of my duty, when I just told you I don't answer for people who do bad things. I'm not doing the bad thing. Right. But let me go one step further.
But don't you think somebody is responsible for that?
The person who said it.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
And the people who continue.
No. The people who continue.
Yes.
No. The people who say whatever it is that they say are responsible for what they say and do. That's accountability. Correct. So asking me why, I don't know. You can ask them. I'm not the person saying it, and I'm not answering for them. So coming to me saying you won't answer my question.
You know what? You know the answer why? Because Pence did not do what Donald Trump wanted him to do, and you know that is the answer.
Wait.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh, are you saying that that's what their motivation was? I guess
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay,
that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so guess
the
what?
Reason why they said that because he did not do what Donald Trump wanted him to do.
Okay, I'm glad.
That's what I'm thinking.
Hold
because
on,
he didn't do it.
If I may, okay. All right, listen. People say things that means nothing. You can say till the cows come home, burn down a church, kill
words are powerful.
No, my man, no, they're not. Let me explain to you why they're not powerful.
Okay.
No, they're not powerful. Actions are powerful. Actions, and people can say anything till the cows come home. I can say to now
make people go into action too.
Look. I can say, listen, I could say all dogs should die. So what? I just said it. It means nothing until I actually harm a dog. My actions matter. You may be pent up or all exercised about what people say. I am not. That is not newsworthy to me. It's what people do that's important to me. I don't care what people tweet. I don't care what they retweet. I care about what they do. Their actions matter to me. You're involved in something else about how things make you feel because somebody said something. I don't care because it doesn't affect me in any particular way. When they do something to me, then we have a problem. You can say whatever it is that you want. That's your freedom to say whatever it is that you want. I don't believe in embarking on your freedom, infringing on your freedom. That's your job. I don't do that. So while everybody else,
I know you don't do this, Reese. I understand that, but you know, words are powerful. It's just like
no, dude. You think words are powerful?
The oldest term,
Michael.
The oldest term is that you can't go into a crowded theater and yell fire. Right?
Michael, this isn't. First of all, saying hang Pence.
You can't go into a crowded theater and yell fire, right? Is that true?
Hang Mike Pence is not yelling fire in a movie theater. It's not.
No, but what? Right, but Mike Pence did not do what Trump wanted him to do.
And so what?
Then now you got people yelling, "Hang Pence."
So
and you know why? Because Pence didn't do what.
Okay, and what's
Trump
your point?
To do?
What's your point to that? You made your point. No. You stuck to.
And you said, and you answered it. You said you don't know. You said that.
I don't know. And I have no interest in it.
Control of what people say.
Michael, I get that you want to filibuster this, but you got to answer the question when I ask you. I'm going to say it again. Okay. So people said hang Mike Pence because he didn't do what Donald Trump wanted him to do, which means what?
Are you asking me a question?
Yes. Now? What does it mean that Pence didn't do what Trump wanted him to do, and people are saying hang Pence, so that means what?
That means that to those people who were yelling at, which wasn't just one person, it was many of them who are Trump supporters, didn't like the fact that Mike Pence did not do what Donald Trump wanted him to do, which was
and what's it mean now?
The election, which was overturn the election.
And what does that mean? What does it mean now? They said it. Mike Pence didn't do it. He stuck to his guns and refused to do it. So them saying hang Pence means what now?
They threatened the man's life. And they threatened the man's life.
They threatened his life. So threatening his life. Okay. So what should happen now?
Hang
so what should happen?
If I said hang Reese Hopkins, that's a threat.
No. You're saying that I should.
I didn't say wait.
If you're saying if you say hold on. It's called bullying, man. If somebody has said to me, "Hey Reese, you should kill yourself," no. If somebody,
you can't.
Stop interrupting me, Michael. Stop interrupting me, Michael.
People cannot make idle threats.
Michael, no. First of all, an idle threat is I'm going to hang, quote unquote, person, not hang him like he deserves to hang, or you deserve to die. Is not a threat. That's someone. No, it's not. That's not the definition of a threat. So I'm going to say it to you again because maybe you'll answer it for me. I'll say it to you one more time. So people said that they should hang Mike Pence. So what? Is Mike Pence been hung? No. Move on.
Still a threat.
So what?
Okay.
It means so. It's still a threat. What should happen? Should they be put in a gulag? Should they end up in Guantanamo Bay? What do you want? You're so exercised about Mike Pence being threatened.
You can't make threats like that.
And what should happen then, Michael?
I can't go on my job.
Michael,
how can I go up to a person and say, you know what, I want to blow your head off?
That's not what. That's not what they said. They didn't say I want to hang.
No, I'm saying. I just said if you heard me clearly.
No.
If I walked up to a person on my job and said, you make me want to blow your head off, that's considered a threat.
Hold on.
Because you know automatically.
You make me want to blow. Hold on.
I'm looking at shooting you,
Michael.
And it's just
Michael,
just like when the president said, I can walk down the street and shoot somebody and I still get elections. Votes. I mean, come on.
Hold on.
You can't make these little jokes.
Stop. Listen. Yes, you can. It's called free speech, Michael. Get to realize what it means. That's called free speech. You can say hang Pence. I can say hang Pelosi. The bottom line is I can say it all day. Unless a credible threat is saying I'm going to do said act. That's a threat.
When you go into the building that person is at, then you have to take it
again.
Seriously.
Hold on. I'm not again.
And that's how come all those folks have been arrested.
Michael,
because they actually went into they actually went onto a premises that was.
Michael, I'm going to ask you again.
It's March,
Michael.
Since March, but
do you not hear me interrupting you? Just stop for a second. You're going off in the weeds, and I'm sticking to something.
No, you're not following what I'm saying.
No, dude. No. You're not sticking to the subject matter I'm talking about. You're going off into the weeds. You are directing the conversation. It's not yours to direct. It's mine. So if you mind, please stick to what I'm talking about. That's all I'm asking. I don't care about people who said hang Mike Pence. You have a difference of opinion on what a threat means. I'm telling you what the definition of a threat means. You don't understand that. Let's move on. I already broke down the timeline for you. Credible threat before Donald Trump gives a speech. Therefore, he did not incite an insurrection. It's irrefutable because it's irrefutable. This is all documented. Washington Post documented it the day before yesterday, as did John Sullivan, which I just read here. It's irrefutable. You can think whatever it is you want, but again, I read the president.
Right.
I read the president's quote, marching peacefully and patriotically for your voices to be heard is not an insurrection, like it or not. In fact, if it were so true, Michael, let me throw this one at you. Let me show this one at you. If Donald Trump incited a riot to go in and storm the Capitol, please provide for me the video and audio evidence of what he said that incited them. Because the media isn't playing it. The media would have that on a repetitive loop for 24 hours a day. Please show me said portion of his speech that incited a riot or an insurgent where he says, storm the Capitol, attack people, and harm them in his speech. You can't find it. Neither can Nancy Pelosi.
What I'll do is, Reese, I'll listen to his speech again.
Please.
And see I'll listen to his speech again. But then again, you are responsible. As an individual, if you have an event, you are responsible.
No, you're not.
For your event and everyone who.
I'm responsible for my event, but I'm not responsible.
Right.
Okay, so guess what? Hold on. Have you been a club promoter? Have you ever been a club promoter? No. I'm asking you, Michael. Stop interrupting me.
I'm asking you.
You wait.
You are responsible.
You wait.
For that event, right?
Michael, wait until I'm done. Have you ever promoted a club before? Have you ever promoted a nightclub before?
I promoted many acts before.
Okay,
you promoted many shows. Yes.
Okay, you promoted shows
I've been
before.
Responsible.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have to? Wait a minute. Do you have to?
Yeah, I've had to manage many of shows.
Do you have to pay? Do you have to pay for insurance at that show?
Say that again.
Do you have to pay for insurance of that show?
It was taken care of with my partner. Yes.
What you had to pay
in California?
Did you pay for insurance for that show?
Yes.
What
on our end, whenever we did our own events, if we did it with another venue, the venue took care of it.
Yeah, again, it's just a yes or no. You paid for insurance.
Yes.
Just yes. Just yes. You paid for insurance that covered liability, right?
Correct. We're
Right.
liable.
Liability. Right. Liability. Liability.
If it's a venue that we are responsible for, and if it's depending on the size of it, yes, we have to cover that.
The liability covers violence.
Does liability cover violence?
Yeah, riots, violence, fights, injuries.
Yeah, if somebody comes after us,
That's
yes,
right.
we are
Right.
liable.
If something happens, that's right. You buy insurance because if somebody comes after you.
Yeah,
No,
we're
right.
liable.
Right. That's right, because you're liable. But if you host an event, right? Now, again, let's say somebody comes to your event and they start shooting up the place because they have a beef with their girlfriend who's there with the new guy, or whatever the case is. Are you responsible because you held the event there?
That's liability.
I didn't ask you that. You're not answering. I asked you a specific question.
I'm explaining.
No. Are you responsible for the acts of an individual? Are you responsible for the acts of an individual inside your club? Are you responsible for the?
If it's a venue, if you let me finish,
please.
If it's a venue that I'm renting from somebody else and I'm liable, yes.
Are you responsible for the crime of someone coming to the club and shooting it up from outside?
If it's inside,
outside.
If it's inside the club, if it's inside,
that's right.
Yes. If it's
inside
outside,
the club,
no.
That's right. Outside, no.
If it's inside, yes.
That's correct.
Outside, no.
That's right. If it's outside, correct. No, you're not. And hold on.
Right.
But wait a minute. You're holding. Hold on.
Because I don't have enough security.
Hold on. You're holding the event that a person chose to attack. How are you responsible? How are you not responsible for the person shooting up an event that you held? How are you not? You put the people there. You charged them to get in. You promoted them coming to the club. You put them in harm's way, didn't you? Even though you have no foresight. Wait, no.
If it's inside the venue,
that's not what I said. It's not what I said.
That is the question that you asked.
No, you're not listening. Outside the club, you're not listening.
Yes, I'm responsible.
You're still talking.
Outside, off the premises,
can you,
on the street. No, I'm not.
Hold on, Michael.
Because the thing is that what happens on the street is on the street.
Michael, I'm going to say it to you again and you're going to listen. Okay? You placed people at a venue that some lone actor decided to come up and shoot up because his girlfriend is in there with a new guy. He decides, fuck it, I'm going to shoot everybody. Everybody in the club, hopefully I'll hit her, right? He is a lone actor who decided on his own. You had a pamphlet out for weeks or months, and he knew where the venue is because you promoted it. He comes to do a drive-by outside the club. You're not responsible for what another lone actor or another individual does. What I'm trying to express to you is that this is a free event outside. Human beings are responsible for other ones. So before you say anything, let me break something very, very simple down to you. Okay? It's very simple. Just stop.
You just twisted the whole scenario.
I'm going to make this better. I'm going to make this.
Very good at Reese.
No, I'm going to. I'm going.
You asked me, but
I'm asking you to stop talking so that I can explain something to you. Okay? So you understand. Okay? All right? Personal responsibility. That's what you need to understand here. Now, here's what I'm trying to explain to you so that you get it. Okay? Nobody, okay, controls anyone's actions. You are of the ilk, just like Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, all of these other Democrats who are trying to charge the president with insurrection, with promoting an insurrection. Here's what it is that you and your ilk believe. You believe that people can be controlled. I need you to be quiet.
But you're not going to talk to me and tell me what I know.
Let me tell you how I know this.
You're not going to tell me to be
Michael,
quiet. I'm not your child.
Michael,
okay.
I need you to.
Your opinion.
Michael. Do not listen to me.
That's your
you
opinion.
You can be sensitive to my opinion, but just be quiet while I speak. You can
I'm listening.
Okay, thank you. You believe that people can be controlled. How do I know this? Because it's evident, right?
Your opinion.
Excuse me. Everybody knows this is my opinion. It's coming out of my mouth. How do I know this? This is how I know this. No, it's okay. This is how I know that people believe that you can be controlled. Pay very close attention, to what I'm about to play you. Okay?
My ears to the phone.
No, they should be. They should be. This, I hope this plays loud enough. This is Eugene Robinson on MSNBC a day ago, talking about the racial impact on the U.S. Capitol riots, okay? And talking about Trump supporters. This guy, evidently, is supposed to be smarter than all of us.
There are millions of Americans, almost all white, almost all Republicans, who somehow need to be deprogrammed. It's as if they're members of a cult, the Trumpist cult, and who have to be deprogrammed. Do you have any idea how we start that process, much less complete it?
So here is Eugene Robinson saying that millions of Trump supporters have to be deprogrammed. Okay? This is supposed to be, wait. This is supposed to be a smart person, right? Leftists believe that people are controlled. They're a part of a cult, that Donald Trump has some sort of mesmerizing control over those individuals, and they need to be deprogrammed into being upstanding citizens. How do we know this to even be more true? I'm going to go, wait. I'm going to go one step further. Here's where I go one step further. And I love this one. This is a PBS employee, a PBS lawyer. He is one of the general counsel for PBS. He says that after Biden wins, that Homeland Security should go to all the Republicans' homes and take their children and put them in re-education camps. To make them, no, I'm not saying that this is your position. I'm saying that these are two prominent people in the Democrat Party who believe that people can be controlled through their minds to think right. Folks, I want everybody to pay attention to the screen on Reese on the Radio. I'm going to show you this picture. I've been saving this for a while. This came from a guy by the name of Harold Ford Jr. He is a former congressman from Tennessee. This is a picture inside his apartment in New York City. Sitting on the screen to your right is Howard Ford. To your left is a picture of Chairman Mao, born in 1893 and died in 1976, I believe it was. The man is responsible for being the Marxist Party who killed millions of people in China. This is Democrat Harold Ford Jr., former congressman from Tennessee, with a picture of a Marxist communist dictator who controlled his people and killed them if they did not join or if they resisted re-education camps. This is the Democrat Party. They believe that they can control people and believe that if they don't do as what they believe, they're controlled by others. So when people start talking about words have power, they sure don't have meaning, because boy doesn't mean boy and girl doesn't mean girl. There are 76 fucking genders, right? Nothing means what it's supposed to. Everything is racist, except what is racist. No woman is a liar. All women are to be believed. Everyone's telling the truth. No one lies. When they're Republicans being questioned or assaulted or being accused of something. When they're Democrats, everything's off the table. Tara Reade, Hunter Biden. You want to talk about corruption? Quid pro quo. Donald Trump was impeached for because he asked the Ukrainian government to investigate what's going on with Hunter Biden and the money he received from Burisma. Here's Joe Biden on tape holding $1 billion in U.S. aid until a prosecutor is fired. Himself caught on tape. Nope, quid pro quo there.
Excuse me, Reese.
No, I'm on a roll. Give me a second. Give me a second.
I'm sorry. Go ahead and stay on your roll.
Nothing is what it seems. Everything is what it is that everybody else seems. Words don't matter. Please don't sit up here and try to suggest to me that words have meaning. They have no meaning. They never have meaning unless they are to someone's political advantage. Now, just so we make sure, hold on, let's make sure, okay? You had Ayanna Pressley saying there needs to be more unrest in the street when talking about Black Lives Matter, even though we know that every time that there is unrest in the street by Black Lives Matter, buildings burn, right? We had Black Lives Matter and Antifa trying to burn down a federal courthouse in Portland, Oregon. And what did Nancy Pelosi say? That we shouldn't have brought in the National Guard to stop those people because they were stormtroopers adding to the strife that was happening there. But there are now 26,000 military sitting outside the Capitol building tonight. Now all of a sudden the police are important to these people. Now blue lives matter, huh? Before it was defund the police. But now what's happening? Oh, something odd is happening now. And just so I make sure that I make this abundantly clear, please let's go to Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, thank you, my friend, for saying this on Capitol Hill.
I denounce political violence from all ends of the spectrum, but make no mistake, the left in America has incited far more political violence than the right. For months, our cities burned, police stations burned, our businesses were shattered, and they said nothing, or they cheerlead for it, and they fundraised for it, and they allowed it to happen in the greatest country in the world. Now, some have cited the metaphor that the president lit the flame. Well, they lit actual flames, actual fires, and we time expired. There will be order.
And they had to cut Matt Gaetz off because he was 100% right. They lit actual fires. They said the president of the United States lit a fire. There's no part of the speech that has been on a loop, a continuous loop on television for anywhere to find. No one's been able to find one for me, but the president incited violence. You can't find it on tape. No one's been able to play it. The news media is not playing it on loop. In fact, in the impeachment words, let me read them to you, because I don't think anybody's been paying attention to that either. Do you know the actual impeachment article? Shortly before the joint sessions commenced, President Trump addressed the crowd at the Ellipse in Washington, D.C., where he reiterated false claims that he won this election. And we won it by a landslide, end quote. He also willfully made statements that in context encouraged and foreseeably resulted in lawless action at the Capitol, such as, if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. That's what he said. Thus incited by President Trump, members of the crowd he had addressed in an attempt to, among other objectives, interfere with the joint session's solemn constitutional duty to certify the results of the 2020 presidential election, unlawfully breached and vandalized the Capitol, injured and killed law enforcement personnel, menaced members of Congress, vice president, and congressional personnel, and engaged in other violent, deadly, destructive, and seditious acts. Here's the word they're quoting. Fight like hell for your country. Fight like hell, or you're not going to have a country anymore. Not storm the Capitol. Fight like hell. That's the words that they put in the actual impeachment record. Where is it where he told people, because it should be here in the impeachment, we are going to peacefully and patriotically march to the Capitol so your voices could be heard? Why isn't it here? Why isn't it here in the impeachment? Because he never said it and they're making this up. They cited newspaper articles in the impeachment. In other words, people's opinion in the news media that Donald Trump did something as an act of sedition. Not Donald Trump's actual words. So anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you. Because here it is, as I just read it, in their own impeachment. Fight like hell for your country. Does when Chuck Schumer said before the Georgia runoffs that we have to fight like hell to win Georgia and change America, what, were they talking about violence then? Were they? No. Right? When Nancy Pelosi was calling people stormtroopers, calling the police department and the armed services reserves, calling them stormtroopers. Do you know what the word stormtroopers? We're not talking Star Wars. Stormtroopers is Nazi. Was Nancy Pelosi being seditious? They were attacking a federal building. A federal building that the National Guard should be protecting. There are Black Lives Matter and Antifa people trying to burn it down. And who did Nancy Pelosi blame for inciting violence? The authorities. How is that possible? That's an attack on our law enforcement, attack on our military, attack on our armed boys and girls. These people attacked the DC police, and now all of a sudden Nancy Pelosi is concerned about the people who she wanted to defund a little while ago? All year, all 2020? I'm trying to figure out. Folks, wait, like I said, words mean nothing. Words mean nothing. So when Michael Gay's on here trying to tell me that words matter, no, they don't. They mean nothing anymore. It's like freaking evaporated milk. You blow on it, it disappears. None of this means anything. So people trying to suggest otherwise is lying to you. Please spare me your faux outrage. Don't talk to me about what Donald Trump wants from taxpayers. Your boy is about to sign a $1.9 trillion relief bill. Slow your roll. I'm still trying to understand, Michael, because you can't answer my question. And I don't think that you can. I don't think that you will. Okay?
I'm still here, Reese.
I know you are.
You know, you told me this is your show, so
I know. I know you're still there. I know you're still.
Listening to your rant.
I know. I know that you are. So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you. You're still talking.
I can't get a word in edgewise.
And you're not going to.
I'm just asking you some questions that I've seen from the Republican and Democrat side and see what your point of view is. But obviously, you don't want me to ask you those questions. So I'm just sitting back listening, my brother.
Okay.
I'm cool.
So make sure that we understand this. Okay?
No, we don't have to understand everything. We can agree to disagree.
I'm talking to my audience. According to a new report from CNN, evidence uncovered so far, including weapons and tactics seen on surveillance video, suggest a level of planning that has led investigators to believe the attack on the U.S. Capitol was not just a protest that spiraled out of control, a federal law enforcement official said. This completely undermines the entire case Democrats made for impeaching Trump. Here's the link to the CNN article. Okay? Investigators pursuing signs that the U.S. Capitol riot was planned. This is an article from CNN Politics written by none other than Evan Perez at 9:12 a.m. on January 14th yesterday. CNN has inadvertently cleared the president. Evidence uncovered so far, including weapons and tactics seen on surveillance video, suggests a level of planning that led investigators to believe the attack on the U.S. Capitol was not just a protest that spiraled out of control, a federal law enforcement official says. According to the evidence, the FBI is examining are indications that some participants at the Trump rally at the Ellipse outside the White House left the event early, perhaps to retrieve items to be used in the assault on the Capitol. A team of investigators and prosecutors are also focused on the command and control aspect of the attack, looking at travel and communication records to determine if they can build a case that is similar to a counterterrorism investigation, the official said. The belief, early in the probe, will demand significant investigation. A presence of corruption prosecutors and agents is in part because of their expertise in financial investigations. We are following the money, the official said. By Wednesday morning, the FBI reported that it had received more than 126,000 digital tips from the public regarding the attack on the Capitol, more than 3 times the number of tips received on Monday. Among the thousands of tips the FBI received are some that appear to show members of Congress with people who later showed up at the Capitol riot, 2 law enforcement officials said. This doesn't mean members of Congress and staff are under investigation, but the FBI is checking the veracity of the claims. At least some of the arrests already made are part of a strategy used in counterterrorism investigations to find even a minimal charge and try to take a person of concern off the streets. That helps ease the possible threat amid concern about possible attacks on the inauguration, officials believe. On January 4th, for example, local police arrested the leader of the Proud Boys, Henry Enrique Tarrio, in Washington, D.C. Does anybody know that? Tarrio was taken into custody for allegedly burning a Black Lives Matter banner from a black church. So here's CNN, the most trusted name in news, saying that there's a counterterrorism investigation that says that they believe that it was pre-planned. I'm aware of how many people died, Delio. 47 people died in Black Lives Matter protests. 47. I think that far outnumbers 5. 47. I'm not here to compare apples and oranges. I'm just here trying to make a valid point. Be consistent. If you can't be consistent, why bother? If anything, you're just a hypocrite. I don't want to call you a hypocrite. I'm not trying to make you a hypocrite. Just be consistent. If what happened at the Capitol is so dire, be consistent. But I see people going so far as trying to suggest that this should be compared to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. Folks, Kaepernick is 3 to 4 years removed. Just talk about last summer with the riots. We had an occupy of a neighborhood called Chaz. Anybody remember that? There were people killed in this autonomous zone that the citizens were allowed, the rioters were allowed to make up their own city. People were killed and raped inside of it. No police presence was there. Where's your outrage? None. You said nothing. So spare me how outraged you are about what happened at the Capitol. And now all of a sudden you're concerned with the police and Congress? Really? You've been railing against the government for years. The government don't care about you. The government ain't gonna do nothing for you. Washington sucks. Now all of a sudden, oh my God, they're in such high regards. Oh, clutch the pearls. Oh my God, what happened at the Capitol? Oh my God, did you see those animals out there? Oh, woo. Give me a break. Ain't nobody falling for that nonsense. Not over here. Don't be mad at me because I'm calling you out. Don't get mad at me because I'm calling you out. This is the reason why most of you run and hide. You can't sit here and deal with the facts, and you don't want to argue the facts. This is the reason why Michael Gay wants to completely filibuster over all of this other nonsense about what people said, not about what people did. He couldn't possibly make any comments about what happened at Black Lives Matter. I was like, yeah, I'm against that too. Well, it didn't happen once, man. It didn't happen in a vacuum. Black Lives Matter protests happened all of summer, okay? Even before George Floyd's death, there were towns being burned down. You said nothing. When there were people's livelihoods being destroyed, businesses, places where people have to go to get their food, to go eat, gas stations where they go to fuel their cars so they can get to work, destroyed. Actual lives, real people like you, lives affected, livelihoods destroyed. And you're going to sit up here and tell me that you're outraged about the Emerald City? A place thousands of miles, if not hundreds of miles away from you, with people who pretty much don't represent you anyway, don't really care about what happens in your life on a day-to-day basis. And now all of a sudden, you're sitting up here worried about, is Nancy Pelosi all right? Is she okay? Oh my God, look at what they did to her office. Her office got ransacked. Did they burn it down? I know plenty of people who got their businesses burned down who are just saying, oh my God, they took a laptop and disheveled some papers and overturned some chairs. Oh, they broke a window. Shit, I wish that my freaking storefront only had a broken window. I can salvage a broken window. These people lost their livelihood. And now you're sitting up here talking about how outraged you are? You're not outraged. You're not outraged at all, because you'd be more concerned about those average citizens who lost everything, that went belly up, a shopkeep, a guy who owned a hardware store or a grocery store, a small little restaurant that feeds the people in the neighborhood and probably employs some people in the neighborhood as well. What did you do about that? Did you donate any money to them? No, but I will tell you what Nancy Pelosi and all those Democrats did for those people who burned down those private citizens, hardworking, middle-class Americans, businesses. You know what it is that Kamala, the vice president-elect, did? She fundraised to get those people bailed out of jail. Those people who were committing crimes against their fellow citizens. Kamala Harris was getting bank to get those people out of jail, to bail them out after they destroyed American lives. And you're sitting up here trying to tell me that you're concerned about Nancy Pelosi's office, about a couple of windows broken, about a police officer who may have suffered a stroke. It's unfortunate that he had to die. They had a protester, unfortunately, a Air Force veteran who also died. And we abhor anybody who lost their lives during this event by some stupid people's actions. Unfortunately, in some cases, you reap what you sow, because in no way am I defending the people who did that. And not one person has ever heard me on this show defend the actions of those people. Not once. Not defending them. They are idiots. Those people were not there representing the rest of us, and nor will I ever speak for them. But that being said, if you're so outraged at those people, be consistent. But you can't. I know why you can't. I don't want to call you a hypocrite. But you know what? If the flip-flop fits, wear it. You're hypocrites. Violence that happens by Black Lives Matter in inner cities or in towns where people have to work and live, who cares about those people? So what? They've already got police brutality to deal with. What's a few buildings going up in flames? Yeah, let's just add onto their strife that they got to go through in Ferguson, right? Ferguson is a racist place for those people to live, and the cops are always pulling them over and always giving them tickets and making money off their backs. We'll show them. We'll burn down their buildings. be consistent. You can't. What have I got for you? You can't tell me squat. I invite each and every one of you on this show to call up on that line and defend it, but you can't. And I know you can't, because you'll never be able to. You'll never be able to stand up like a real person, like a mensch, and say, you know what? I may be overreacting about this whole Donald Trump thing, but I need him to be a bad guy, Reese. I need him to be an evil son of a bitch. So I'm going to jump the gun on this one. I'm going to exacerbate it. I'm going to call him a villain because I need him to be a villain, and I need all the evidence I can to make him a villain. But the people who are out there destroying actual lives, real American citizens, mom and pops, John Q and Joan Q public, you don't give two craps about them. Which shows how elitist and how down your nose you look on those people. Here you are idolizing a couple of people in the ivory towers who got their offices and windows ransacked. Look at what they did. When the average person who's just like you, working their fingers to the bone, has their livelihood destroyed, you don't give two craps about them. You didn't show them. Neither did Nancy Pelosi, by the way. Neither did Kamala Harris. Neither did Joe Biden, because none of those people stood up and said, you need to stop that violence now. If you're voting for me and you support me, you have to stop destroying those people's homes and those people's businesses. And you need to tamper it down. They didn't do it one bit. They called for more of it. Maxine Waters told people to get in their faces, told those people that they won't be allowed there, called for actual violence. And now you're going to sit up here and try to preach to me about how outraged you are? Some of us know better. It's kind of hard to believe unless you consider that Bernie Sanders supporters learn their lesson from time to time and went ahead and voted for Biden. Also, Georgia flipped to blue. Don't believe that nonsense. Also, there may be Republican voters who voted for Biden after seeing how poorly Trump has handled the pandemic. Actually, well, if you can prove that, Delia, I'll totally appreciate it. If you could prove that other than just being theory. But you know what? I'll go to your earlier statement about Bernie Sanders. Folks, if we really want to talk about violence, let's go to Bernie Sanders. Anybody remember the shooting of Steve Scalise? That guy wasn't just a Bernie Sanders supporter. He was a Bernie Sanders volunteer. He staked out a baseball field for over a month, waiting for Republicans to come there and practice for their annual a baseball game, looking for Republicans to kill. Why did he go down there? Why? Because Bernie Sanders said that Republicans are going to kill people if they don't support universal health care. And this guy was outraged by it. And he said the Republicans had to be stopped. And what he meant by stopped was murdered. Where was your outrage then? Where was your outrage then? And I'm not saying the guy's name, not because I don't remember, it's because I don't promote killers on this show. Because that guy came there to be a killer. But what did we find out? Because I went to his Facebook page immediately because I got a huge tip. Thank you. I got a great tip on him before they even mentioned his name in the media. Snap. I was on his page and I downloaded every picture and every screenshot I could. I knew exactly who he was. I knew exactly who he promoted. I knew exactly who he loved before anybody. Well, not before anybody. Not before my tip knew. But I had him like that. Loved Bernie Sanders, worked for Bernie Sanders, and was a huge fan of Rachel Maddow, who repeats on her show constantly that Republicans are going to kill people unless we get universal health care and we adopt a socialist society. That's what this guy believed, and he drove all the way down from the Midwest to make sure he killed somebody. Where was your outrage then? But you had none. I wonder why. All I'm trying to figure out is why you didn't have any outrage. And you're never ever going to answer that question. Because I don't expect you to be consistent. That's all I'm saying. I did my part for the day, folks. Michael, thank you for friending me on Facebook. I hope you'll share the show. Let people know that the show is on here from Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm assuming you were out at the event on Wednesday, the 6th. But let the people out there know that I'm here every weeknight. Just share, like, go to wackfm.com, the website. If you can contribute, help keep Wack FM on the air if you can. That's pretty much it for me tonight, folks. I am out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. For Mary, Why You Bugging? I'm Reese on the radio. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow, and I will be back on Monday. Please go to wackfm.com. Wasn't there, but Rick is family. Oh, okay. All right. No doubt. Okay. All right. So, folks, as I always say, thank you very, very much. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and I appreciate you always coming out and supporting Reese on the radio. All right. You guys be good to yourselves and try to have a good weekend. All right. Bye-bye.